Hey next door app neighbors, Mario here again, how are you? This is my best hack ever. I got sick and tired of worrying about whether my catalytic converter was going to get stolen. Believe me when I tell you there's precious little on the market. We're talking about cages that you can weld underneath. There isn't an alarm system that I could find. I spent a year looking, so I decided to make my own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a simple shed alarm and repurpose it into a catalytic converter alarm. It's relatively cheap, it's super easy to do, anybody can do this, and it works. I have tested this probably for 8 months now, through the winter months and into the spring. The unit hasn't failed, my sensor hasn't come off. It's not a professional unit, absolutely, but there are no professional units. I have looked. So if you want to do something to give yourself the edge, this is the thing to do. And here's the important part. We want to catch them before they get under your vehicle, not while they're under your vehicle. While they're under your vehicle, they have time to use a hacksaw, and they take all of 3 minutes and they cut your converter out and they're gone. We don't want them to get to that point. The moment they try to reach under or crawl under your car is when we want this alarm to go off. And I'm going to show you an example of a video that was taken on YouTube from a situation here in Edmonton. And you can see how fast this individual cuts this converter out. But if he was to start to crawl under your car and an alarm went off, I doubt very much if he would stick around. So let's watch the video and let's put this thing together. You're going to be surprised how well it works, how easy it is to do it. Anybody can do it. Let's go have some fun. So this is pulled off of YouTube, and you will get a really good feeling how fast this occurs. If you look closely, it's actually daylight. This person has no fear of being caught, and he's going to inspect the bottom of the vehicle quickly, run back to his own truck, get a tool, crawl underneath. Well, we want to catch him right at the moment of crawling underneath, because as you can see, once he gets underneath, that's it. Your catalytic converter is gone. Now that you've seen how fast these people operate, you can appreciate the fact that we need to stop them before they get under your vehicle. Let's make our alarm. Here's the kit that you're going to buy. It's a simple wireless alarm system. And depending on what other components you buy, you're probably in between $60 and $80. This one here I think I picked up at $65 because I had a coupon I could apply on Amazon. What we get with the unit, it's all packaged in this small box. You get 2 motion detectors. You get the alarm horn itself, which is extremely loud. This is as loud as it gets legally. You can't get a horn that can be any louder than this. You get a power supply. You get 3 of these, which are door sensors, and we're not going to use them for our purpose because they have no bearing on this whatsoever. And we get 2 remote controls. And the remote control is going to turn the alarm on and off, sending a signal to this horn. So it's a very, very easy system to work through because you have very little work to get this going. So we'll get rid of these. The door sensors are gone. That leaves us these 2 units. Now, in a while I'm going to talk about getting a second horn. You may or may not want one. The reason is that an additional horn, they're a 12-volt system, so you can wire one horn to your car battery and keep the horn under the hood. And you can take the other horn, this horn in this case, with the power supply, and you can plug this in anywhere. And if an alarm trips, both horns will go off at the same time. One under the hood and one anywhere in your yard, in your house, in your garage, it doesn't matter. These things are good for easily 150 feet. I've tested this, it works extremely well because they do have an antenna in here, and it's a signal that basically you can put any distance away from this horn and it will trip the horn the moment that it detects motion. So you can go with one horn if you want, but then you have a choice. Do I want it wired under my hood, or do I want this somewhere in the yard, which is going to scare the burglars away? In my situation, I actually have 2 horns, one that is under the hood and one that is really close at a power supply where the criminals themselves might be, and they'll both go off at the same time. Imagine the ruckus. They're not going to hang around a long time when this goes off. So these are the basic pieces, and let's take a look at how we assemble this. Here's the tools and parts that we're going to need to make our converter alarm, and it's relatively straightforward. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to go to Princess Auto or somebody that sells magnets, and you want to buy some larger ceramic magnets. These are two for about $7, and if we look at the back, the size tells us that it's a 1 7/8 by 7/8 by 3/8 inch thick. So when we take it out of the package, I've already used one. We take it out of the package, this is what's going to look like. What we're looking for is something that has an edge to it like this and is fairly thick. If you find other magnets, you might be able to use them. There are certainly stronger ones and they're more expensive, but in the long run this is the one I decided to go with, and I'll show you why in a moment. You'll need a piece of sandpaper, a small screwdriver of some kind. We're just going to pop the case off the motion sensor. You're going to need a pair of scissors, some electrical tape, and here's the optional. You need one or the other of these. I recommend that you do use this JB Weld because we're going to glue a magnet to plastic and we want to make sure that it holds. For my test model, which I've run probably for 8 months now, I used two-sided tape. And the reason I did that was if it wasn't going to work out, I didn't want to have to try to disassemble something that already had been glued. I have to tell you that 7-8 months on, this tape is still holding and I don't see it coming off. And a bit of a caution to you, if you're going to use two-sided tape instead of the JB Weld, buy the good two-sided tape. Dollar store or Walmart two-sided tape isn't going to cut it. You can go to Canadian Tire, Home Depot, or somebody like that and actually buy professional grade two-sided tape. It's quick and easy to use, where you have to leave drying time of 24 hours for the JB Weld. So there's your options. You don't have to use both, you can use either. Now I'm going to show you how to assemble it, and let's make the system usable. For our first step, we're going to take one of the motion detectors and we are going to pop the cover off it. And it comes off like that. And we'll see inside we have a radio system and a battery. I recommend you use lithium batteries. Again, with the winters that we face, a lithium battery will hold up well, and I'm going to guess you're going to get at least a year's use out of it. So let's take that and set that aside for a moment and bring back the cover. The cover has an acrylic or a piece of plastic here that acts as a diffuser that sends out the beams for detecting motion. We want to take that out. We're going to pop it apart like so. So you're left with the channel that holds it and the acrylic piece itself. This is a piece we have. This is very durable. It also helps spread the beam. So what happens is, if you were to use it like this is the beam, and it would be a very tight beam, which will, for most motion detecting purposes, wouldn't be very good. Once you put a diffuser in front of it, it spreads that beam out in all directions and senses motion a little more effectively because it covers more area. So for the time being, we'll go back to putting that away, and we're going to take our acrylic piece. Then we want to bring in our electrical tape and a pair of scissors. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the electrical tape and we want to wrap it around the edge like so. Bring the end around. Do the same thing on this side. I'll explain why we're doing this in a moment. Then we're going to take the same tape and do it on the other side. Like so. And we can cut that off. This is what we're left with. The reason I'm doing this is that this gives a tighter beam than having the diffuser spread the motion detecting, the infrared actually, on a broader area. Why am I doing that? Because when it's under your car, we don't want too wide of an area because animals might go under there and get false alarms, so we lessen that, but we do leave enough here that it's going to certainly trip when a crook tries to go under your car. So once we've got that piece done, we're going to put that back into the unit like so, and we're going to take our frame and put it back in like that. And this is what it's going to look like from the outside. Then we're going to take our radio housing and we're going to assemble the whole unit again. Now, one thing to keep in mind, it does have an extension antenna. I don't recommend you use it without extending it. I've done 150 feet, so this is going to work just fine. Then we're going to take our cover, we're going to put it back together again like so. Now you've assembled the main component. You want to do that to the other piece as well, so you're going to wind up with two pieces that look exactly like this. Now we're looking at the back of our sensing unit. You can see I've already pre-mounted a magnet here, and if we take a look at how that fits, you'll see it sits nicely against this channel here. Okay, that's what we want to do. We want to get it sitting like this. This is going to give you good strong hold when eventually you put this under the car. So if you're going to use the JB weld, first thing you want to do is you want to take the sandpaper that we talked about earlier, and we want to rough up this surface really good. Where the magnet is going to sit and where the glue is going to be applied to, you want to rough that up until you can actually feel that it's been roughed up, okay? Because it is a slick surface and most glues don't work if you don't rough up the surface first. So we're going to rough that up. If you're going to use the JB glue, which I'm not going to do at this moment, but it's something that you may want to choose as your optional way to do this. It's a two-part, so you're going to take it out of the package, squeeze it like a syringe, apply glue onto the surface of this, apply glue onto the surface of your magnet, and then you're going to mount them together like this, and then they're going to sit for 24 hours to make sure it's a good bond. If you don't want to go that route, you're going to go with two-sided tape. Like I said earlier, make sure you get the good quality tape. In this case, this is a really nice size because it fits onto the magnet quite well. So this is going to be a lot quicker and there's no drying time. You cut to size, peel the back off, apply pressure to it, and squeeze and hold maybe for a good minute or so. Make sure it's on good and tight, and you're done. Once it's done, this is what it's going to look like. This is my model that I pre-made, and it has the magnet on it right now. And I say again, 7-8 months, this has not come off, but it's because we're using good quality tape. Don't use the garbage tape. That's all the work you have to do. At this point, we're literally ready to install it. But I want to go through the horn with you for a moment and just explain its function and the remote control as well. So we'll cut away and bring those into the scene. Getting a second or even a third horn, depending on what you feel your needs are, can really make the system that much more valuable. You can take this horn and you can cut this end off, and it's going to leave you with two wires. Those two wires we can hook up to your car battery, buying a piece from Canadian Tire that's about $5 or $6, and it's actually meant to be a terminal connection straight to the battery. So you can mount this under the hood. We've got facilities here to screw it somewhere onto the firewall, that type of thing, wire this straight to the battery. Why do you want to do that? If you just use the system the way it is, the only time you're going to get a warning that somebody's trying to steal your catalytic converter is when you're at home. But those thefts don't always happen when you're just at home. They happen in parking lots, when you're going shopping, when you're leaving it out on the street. So having a second one wired to your battery is ideal because you're protected in two locations. If you're away from home, this will go off under the hood. If you're at home, both horns will go off when somebody tries to get under the vehicle. So it's for you to decide. You may feel that protecting it at home is enough, and that's fair. The horn is not expensive. It's an additional $20, so you can easily get a second one. Let's go outside and see what the system is going to do when we hook it up. Now that we've built it, it's time to use it. First thing you want to do is turn the unit on. Your magnet on the back, you want to reach in underneath, find the metal frame. Once you feel that it's good and secure, that's it, you're done. This works really well. It only puts down an area of about 8 inches of detection. Chances of a cat or a squirrel hitting that area are pretty slim. However, at my size, trying to get under your vehicle, I'm going to trip that off. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to be caught the moment I go anywhere near the bottom of this car. People walking by aren't going to trip it. Noise isn't going to trip it. Paper isn't going to trip it, but I will trip it. And here's where we want to stop them. It's too late when they're under your car. You want to catch them as they're going under the car. Like I said, I've tried this 7 or 8 months. It works wonderful. Put one on each side, and let's give the bad guys a hard time for a change. So arm it. You can hear that it's armed. Give it a couple of seconds to set. And then try to get under your vehicle, see what happens. Works each and every time. Hope you make use of it. Take care. So tell me that you can't do this. You can do this, right? We're talking for an investment well under $100, probably about $85, $90, and you can have this system. And again, this is something that I've tested time and time again, and it absolutely works. You have to have an edge of some kind, and hopefully this one will give it to you. Keep in mind that you can use 2 horns or more in this system. The one that I used in the video was basically plugged into somewhere outside of my house to act as a deterrent to the criminal. But that only works if I'm at home. You can wire in a second horn under the hood. It's a 12-volt horn. And we can wire directly to the battery, and when you're shopping or at a friend's place, you have the same protection, except this time that horn will go off under the hood. When you're at home and you have 2 horns, both horns will go off at the same time. So if you're interested in learning how to wire this under your hood or add more horns on top of that, let me know. It takes all of 5 minutes to be able to do the job. I'll do a separate video, or I'll work with you to get it done. So hopefully you'll learn something from this, and let's take this out of the hands of the bad guy and give ourselves a little protection. See you around the neighborhood. Take care.